Hi, in this video I'll be walking you through how you can use generative AI tools to curate and craft workshop outlines. We're going to be relying on three tools in a sequential order. We're going to start with ChatGPT, we're going to start with Gemini, then we're going to go to NotebookLM, and then we're going to come to ChatGPT in that final step. The process is going to be fairly straightforward. We have all the prompts and the instructions curated for us in the upcoming slides. What we're going to do is we're going to utilize Gemini's capability of going online and searching and browsing through the internet to curate a list of resources for us in the form of websites, PDFs, articles, links, YouTube videos. Then we're going to take those and supply them to Notebook LM, which is going to make our sources, whatever we have supplied as the context of its information, and going to give us responses in terms of extracting key themes and other aspects. And then once we have the key themes and every other aspect in aligned with us, then we're going to supply all of that to ChatGPT in a step-by-step manner to curate and craft the workshop outline. Relying on one tool for the entire task is not very beneficial because each tool, although can do the three things that we just discussed, it is better to rely on Gemini for research, NotebookLM for summarization, extraction, and ChatGPT for content curation. Let's get started. So I have Gemini open right in front of me. I'm going to come to Gemini. Now with Gemini, we are trying to find and gather resources. So we'll use Gemini to conduct online research, find high quality resources including PDFs, articles, links, etc. Now, what are we specifically trying to look for in this scenario? Academic syllabi or outlines on scholarly writing courses, guides and frameworks for writing PhD dissertations, articles on publishing in practitioner journals. I will also have to specify in my prompt that these are the journals that I'm looking at, because if I don't specify, there is ambiguity and it will make anything else the source of its information. So I need to specifically instruct what journals I'm talking about. If I talk about research journals, I again need to specifically instruct in my prompt what research journals am I talking about. Will then understand the context of what I'm trying to achieve. Now, we're going to start with a simple prompt. You can try multiple detailed prompt as well, or multiple smaller prompts, or one large detailed prompt. That is totally up to you. Because I'm looking at summarization and identifying, my prompt detail does not make a lot of difference in this case because I'm going to specify the sources as well. So I'm going to start with the first prompt. I'm going to come to Gemini. I'm going to paste the prompt. When you copy and paste something here, you can press Control Shift V. If you just press Control V, it gets pasted as an image. So I'm going to press Control Shift V to paste it. So I'm asking Gemini to find and summarize publicly available PDFs or resources on how to write a dissertation for PhD students in management. I'm going to start with this. And what Gemini is going to do is it is going to give me website links, resources. Again, I have to go back and validate whether these resources are relevant for me or not, right? That level of validation you have to do. If I want to specify some more context, so coming back to our previous slide where we said that the objective is finding the right course for teaching how to publish articles in practitioner journals and in research journals. So I'll come back and I'll modify my prompt. I'll say that I am working on a course outline and need to do some research for it. I need your help with, we're going to keep the same prompt here. So I'm going to say finding and summarizing publicly available PDFs or resources on how to write dissertations for PhD students in management. The objective of my course is, and I'm just going to copy these because that is what I'm trying to essentially look at in terms of what my course is going to help the participants with. So I don't need the first one because that is something that I will find and create on my own. But I need guides. I need to tell that this is the objective, that students need to be able to publish articles in practitioner journals, research journals, etc. I'm going to update my prompt. And now the response that I get is going to be very curated compared to the earlier response, where now I will get some more reliable sources that I can clearly rely on. So it tells me that there is this website I can refer to. I'm going to open the link. I'll also keep a Word document handy. So remember, creating an outline is also not a one-step process where I can write one large detailed prompt and it gives me what I want in the first attempt itself. It requires a lot of iterations as well. And the best is to rely on different tools for identifying which tool is the best for what specific aspect. So I'm going to start with the first link. Now I can download the PDF. So I'm going to download the PDF from here and I'm going to keep this PDF handy because these are the PDFs and the resources that we'll put in NotebookLM. So I'm going to download it and I'm going to put it in a new folder. I'm going to call this Gemini Research. I'm going to put that there and it's downloaded. Perfect. Then come back. The next source is Guidelines for Writing a Thesis or Dissertation, University of Florida. I'm going to do a right click, open link in new tab. Again, it's a PDF. I should be able to download this. Doesn't matter how long the PDF is in terms of number of pages. In NotebookLM, when we create a new notebook, we're allowed to upload 50 sources. If you look at the bottom, 300 sources, right? In some, if you're on the free version or not an organizational account, then it will allow you 50 sources. But even 50 sources is very big in terms of the numbers of sources that you can upload. Then I have dissertation and management from script. Okay, I can try to open that. I can download it as a PDF. Okay, some places you need to log in to download, so I'm just going to skip that for now. But if you feel that this link is important for you, you can sign up to script and download that PDF. And I have one which is from the doctoral program at UMY. I'm going to open that and I'm going to download this as well. Okay. And again, I am not very sure if these resources will be aligned to what you're trying to search for. For example, if you want something in the Indian context, you have to specify that, this will, who the audience of the program is also going to be. So if you can specify that. So for example, if I can just check who the audience for this particular program is. 1 second. Okay. I'm just going to put that here. The course is for PhD in management students at uh, I can put the institute name. I'm just going to put a Premium Indian Institute. Now what happens is, although I have specified earlier my requirement, when I specify that this is happening in India, the resources that will give me might slightly vary. Some resources can be universal, some can be very relevant or specific to the Indian context. Like I said, so it's giving me the same resource as earlier. This one was mentioned earlier as well, which we've already downloaded. Then we have the next one from script, which again is giving me the same resource, because in terms of citations, there's a universal standard that is followed, or general standard across, irrespective of what geography you come from, and hence it does not make a lot of difference whether you specify the Indian context or not. Standard format for preparation of theses and dissertations. It's not giving me the link. I can ask for the link, or I can just copy and paste this and I should get the PDF, right? I'm going to download this as well, Gemini Research, and I'm going to save this. I'm going to close this, come back. It's also giving me some articles. Again, if I want articles, I can go ahead and extract information from these articles as well. I'm going to ask it for the links. Please provide the links for the articles. Again, here, since I'm doing research, one or two detailed prompts should be able to get me my final sources that I can rely on or start searching with. Now here it is not giving me exact articles from HBR. It is saying that I need to go and search. But if I ask for specific articles from HBR, CMR, or and Sloan, Mighty Sloan. If I specify my source like I had done earlier, that if I come back to the top and I look at my prompt, I specified in the objective, I specified my source that this is the objective of the course. I did not specify that these are the sources that I want. And when I ask for specific sources, you will see that it'll give me some specific sources. Again, they might not be absolutely relevant to what you're trying to find. So you'll also have to validate what you're trying to search for. For now, I feel I did not need to take the link of any of these because I was able to download them. So just to check, I have, let's say, 4 PDFs, right? Just to quickly have a look. This one is 20 pages. The other one is 85 pages. The other one is 8 pages. And the other one is 46 pages, right? Yeah, perfect. Now what I'm going to do is, let's say I feel that my research is sufficient. I am okay with these links. If not, you can, and if you feel that in the same chat, writing the prompt again and again is not going to give you a result, come back and start a new chat. In the new chat, I'll come back. I will try a different prompt. I'm going to say, search for articles and sources about writing. Okay, I have to press Control Shift V. So I'm going to press Control Shift V. Search for articles and resources about writing for practitioner journals, focusing on actionable tips and frameworks. Very categorical prompt, very clear, very structured, to the point. And it is going to give me, okay, it is directly giving me a response, which I don't want. Give me the links. Because I just said search for articles and resources about practitioner journals is going to give me some inputs, right? So it's giving me some websites again where I am getting categorical links. So how to write for a practitioner audience. Then there's one from InFed on writing, keeping journals, a guide for educators and social practitioners. If I feel these links would be useful to me, I can utilize them. I can come back and if I'm specifically searching for PDFs, right, or academic articles, let's say on scholarly writing courses, I can come back and search for that as well. You can always edit your original prompt and update it by clicking on that edit button here so that the previous context is forgotten. This is the new context that the chat will remember. It is giving me some sources. Again, like I said, you'll always have to validate the sources. For now, I'm just going to go ahead with the 4 PDFs that I have, and I'm going to come to Gemini now, NotebookLM now. So we're done with Gemini. I'm going to come to NotebookLM. Now, before we come to NotebookLM, let's have a look at what NotebookLM can do. Generally, Gemini will give you output in the form of links. You'll have to download those links. If there are PDFs available, you can download the PDF. If it is a link to an article, you can copy and save that link as well. All of this can be put as a source into NotebookLM. Now, once we've done that, we're going to summarize and extract themes from these PDFs, right? So we've curated the PDFs that we feel are relevant for the context that we are working with. And now we're going to upload them and begin summarizing the PDFs. Now, the advantage of working with NotebookLM is that I can simply drag and drop these here. Once I do that, it will show me all the 4 PDFs here. This will take a few seconds to load. Now, the advantage of working with NotebookLM is that when I specify 4 sources, whatever questions I ask, you'll see that here also it mentions 4 sources. Here also it mentions 4 sources, which means the response that it gives me will only be from the context of these 4 PDFs. Can it do critical thinking? Yes. Can it compare, contrast, summarize, synthesize? Yes. But from the context of these 4 PDFs itself. So the source is not the entire internet, which will happen with ChatGPT even if you upload a PDF, right? But this is absolutely great when you want to summarize PDFs, website links, YouTube videos. If I go back to add source, you will see that I've added 4 of 300. In your case, you might have 50. You can add Google Docs, Google Slides, website links, YouTube video links, and directly paste copied text as well. I'm okay with the 4 now, and I'm going to minimize this panel here. I can always expand it to look at what sources I'm working with. I can decide if I want a response from a particular source. So every time I ask a question, I can decide which source I want a response from. In our case, we want to look at all the 4 sources, and I'm going to minimize this panel on the left. This is where you can start interacting with the LLM. On the right hand side, you have something called audio overview, which will generate a summary of the PDFs converted into a 20-30 minute podcast from whatever sources you have applied. Here there are some specific prompts that whether you want a study guide from these documents, it will give you a study guide, which means question answers. If I want a briefing doc, if I want timeline, which is extract important dates from the PDFs, or if I want to create FAQs. We don't want to do any of that right now. And I don't want an audio podcast also. I just want to interact, chat with the PDF. And the same prompts that you get here, these four, are also available in the chat window itself. Right? You can click on this configure icon and decide what kind of conversation style you would want. I, for example, in this case, want longer responses and define your conversation style. I want it to act like a guide for me. I can always go on custom and specify how I want it to respond to me, but I'll go with guide right now because I'm looking at instructions to be given so that I can utilize them to put into ChatGPT. I'm going to save this for now and we'll quickly come back to the presentation to look at what prompts we can put into NotebookLM. So I'm going to say again, I can have multiple prompts, right? So I'll start with the first one. Summarize the key themes in the PDF related to dissertation writing for management students. I'll come back, I'll paste it, I'll press enter. Again, here also you can write detailed prompts. I have categorically created these prompts for the purpose of interacting with whatever sources we upload. So I feel these prompts in our case will also work. Once I put the prompt, it is going to scan through all the PDFs that we uploaded. In this case, 4 PDFs as we can see on the left. We can upload a website link or a YouTube link as well. And within each, it will tell me which PDF it has referred to. So I get the source as well. So I'm not blinded in terms of where it has picked up these points from. Is it picking up the exact point from the document? No, it is summarizing and giving it to you. I can come back and I can ask you the next question where I say, extract actionable steps from this guide on publishing in practitioner journals like Harvard Business Review. Come back and I can specify my next prompt. Again, I am working with all the 4 sources. I can anytime decide before putting in my question how many sources I want to rely on, and I can always go back and add more sources as well. Again, it's going to take some time. When I say some time, it means 15, 20, 30 seconds, 45 seconds at the max, depending on how many sources you have uploaded. While this is loading, let's say you don't want to upload individual questions. What I suggest is you can copy all of your prompts, whatever individual prompts you've created. You can always come to GPT and specify that I will give you 5 prompts, convert them into one large mega or 1 mega prompt. Ensure it is detailed. Right? So I'm just going to instructing GPT that I'll give you 5 prompts, convert them into 1 mega prompt, ensure it is detailed. Do not give me a response to the prompts, refine them. This is important to specify because a lot of times what happens is if I don't specify this, I give it 5 prompts, it will respond to those prompts because that is what the model is supposed to do, keep on responding. So I have to categorically state, do not give me a response to the prompts, refine them. I'm going to press send, zoom out a little, copy these, come back. Again, Control Shift V. When I press Control V, the image also gets pasted. So you just do Control Shift V, so only the text will get pasted. When I specify my instruction here, which is I will give you 5 prompts, convert them into 1 mega prompt, ensure it is detailed, do not give me a response to the prompts, refine them. This is sufficient. It says, please share the 5 prompts and I will consolidate them into one detailed and cohesive mega prompt for you. We have the 5 prompts right here. I am going to send this. And it's going to create one large prompt. Rather than, now in NotebookLM, rather than having to put 5 individual prompts, I can put one large prompt as well. Right? Now, here if we come back and see the second question that we have asked, because in my conversation style I have chosen guide, the response is also in that manner. So I say I'm your friendly expert guide to the dissertation PDF document. Think of me as your personal tutor, here to help you navigate the ins and outs of dissertation writing for management doctoral students. Now, it is picking up information from that particular PDF, which is okay, right? We want the summary. So my first question was to summarize the themes, which it has done for me right here. And it tells me that this approach can help me organize my thoughts, present my research clearly, but also demonstrate our understanding of the conventions of academic writing. It talks about some analysis, which are also important for data analysis. And it also giving me some instructions or cautions. Anytime it is not able to find something in the PDF, it will categorically tell me that this information is not present in the PDF. Now I'm going to put in my mega prompt, which is this, and I'm going to send this prompt right here, which is combination of the 5 individual prompts that you're working with. Now it says that solely focus on process and standards for preparing a dissertation for management doctoral students. There is no information on publishing research in academic practitioner journals. I can help you learn more. Would you like to explore the requirement for submitting a dissertation title or perhaps delve into specific of the research proposal seminar? Now, what it's doing is this first document, it is not able to rely on it correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ensure that I uncheck that particular document because it is trying to search within that document, not give me the correct resource. When I uncheck it and I come back and try to utilize the same prompt again, and let's hope it is able to generate a response from us. Like I said, you'll have to keep on trying, right? Multiple iterations till you get what you're exactly looking for. So I have some information here at the top which I'll be utilizing when crafting the prompt into GPT, and perfect. If I just excluded that PDF, which was from some particular university in some country, it has given me the entire analysis, key themes in dissertation writing, actionable steps for publishing in practical journals, critical points for a session on publishing in research journals, relevant sections for a course on academic writing and publishing, and additional considerations. Can you, if I want a more longer or detailed response, can you elaborate on all the above points? Ensure it is extremely detailed. I can do that. Now, why won't I do something like this in ChatGPT where I can upload my PDFs? The reason is because even though you upload your PDFs in ChatGPT, the context does not just remain your PDF. The context is the entire ChatGPT's knowledge base. Hence, responses will always be incorrect or might have to be validated every time. Now, what I can do is I can just copy this while this elaborate explanation is being generated, and we'll come to ChatGPT now. So I needed what I want, right? I started with 4 sources. The first source did not seem very reliable in terms of the model not being able to extract information from it. As soon as I excluded that particular source, the other 3 sources proved sufficient. Now, why can't I ask directly? Why can't I directly ask ChatGPT to give me a not from the PDF, but give me steps on how to publish in a practitioner journal? If I ask ChatGPT that, it'll give me points, but there's not going to be a source for it, right? And you will always have to go back and validate those points. You will not need, you will always have a doubt whether those points are absolutely correct or not. You might, if you have a good understanding of the subject, then you're also able to evaluate the points. But for someone who does not have a deeper understanding of the subject or the domain, then just copying and pasting points from ChatGPT will not work. Utilizing 3 tools is the best way to ensure that whatever you get as the final output is going to be very refined, reliable, and you should be able to trust it, and you should be able to back it with, because you have multiple sources. I asked it to elaborate, and it is elaborating information for me right here. It also creating session outlines for me, right? Which is great. Now, I didn't ask for it, but it has done it for me. If I feel that I want to elaborate on these outlines further, I can do it right here. So if I say that I like the course outline, can you make it more detailed and structured? Right? So now I don't need to go to ChatGPT as well. I can do that here also, which is once it has given me a course outline, I can continue to refine it further from here itself. What we can do with ChatGPT is, which was going to be my third tool for this purpose, I'm going to do something called role play, which we can do with these models, and that will definitely improve the way you get an output. This entire aspect is my prompt. We're going to set the role and context. So I'm going to tell ChatGPT again, sorry, my bad. So we press Control Shift V. When we do that, I'm going to say tell to ChatGPT, you are an expert instructional designer specializing in academic course outlines for PhD students and working professionals. Your task is to help me create a 30-hour course titled Scholarly Writing for Practitioners. The course is for PhD students in management with 8+ years of experience. It aims to help them with, you can press Shift Enter to break it into multiple lines. write their dissertation, publishing in practitioner journals, publishing in research journals, and this last part is not what we want in the prompt. That's an instruction for the user. So I will now provide you additional details in the next steps. Do not generate any output yet. Acknowledge that you understand and are ready to proceed. What happens is, if I don't put in this last part, the model will always give me a response. Right? Do you see it's directly jumping and creating a 30-hour outline. I don't want to do that. I don't want the model to create an outline from me from its knowledge base. Although I have given a very categorical instruction and I'm sure this outline will be fairly good. But since I have my own sources and that I would like to input into the model, I'm going to rely on those. So I'm just going to copy this last part, which is I will now provide additional details in the next steps. Do not generate any output yet. Acknowledge that you understand and proceed. Now you will see that it is not going to create an outline. It will say, understood, I'm ready to proceed. Please provide the additional details. Then we come back, we move to our next step. We provide the structure and expectations. If I want the outline to be of a specific format, heading, subheading, subpoints, examples, case studies, etc., whatever structure I want for the outline, I have to specify that structure. Because if I don't specify the structure, ChatGPT will assume something. For example, if I go back to the previous prompt, we can edit the prompt from here. If I go back to my earlier prompt in the same chat, do you see it gave me the structure? Right? It gave me 5 modules. Did I ask for 5 modules? No. How did it know it has to give me 5 modules? It assumed that this is the best that it can do for me. So if you want a specific structure, you will have to specify that. You have to be explicit in your requests and in your prompts to any chat model. So this entire thing is my prompt here. This is the structure and the format that I want. And what I'm going to do is copy that, come back here, Control Shift V. I'll just walk you through the prompt as well. So you can press Shift Enter to break a prompt into multiple lines. Doing that just to ensure that it is able to read the content correctly. So here is the structure and format I expect for the course outline. Course overview, session breakdown. I'm telling categorically what I need per session. Ensure the content is professional, neat, and aligned with the target audience. Do not generate the course outline yet. Again, I don't want it to jump into the course outline because I yet haven't given it the information that I've extracted from NotebookLM. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to say, do not generate the course outline yet. I will provide additional information in the next steps. Confirm that you understand and are ready to proceed. We are going to press send. And now again, it is going to tell you that it understands everything that you've given it so far and it's going to wait for additional information. Then we're going to come back into the third aspect where we're going to put our own findings and researches that we did from NotebookLM and Gemini. Now, I'm going to copy this whole prompt and I'll tell you some changes that you will need to make to this prompt in order for it to work effectively. So I'm saying that here are the inputs based on my secondary research that I did using Gemini and NotebookLM. So I'm going to put my themes here. Again, we'll have to copy these from obviously NotebookLM. So this is just a sample that is mentioned here, right? I'm going to remove those. Those are samples mentioned here. So we'll have to paste that here. Now, if you want categorically resources to be allocated to the users or to the students, and you want to mention those resources in your outline. So for example, if I say list 3 key readings, what ChatGPT is going to do is it's going to try to find those readings for me. If I have some resources already available that I found through Gemini maybe, I can put those later on, but including that in the prompt here would not be the best idea. If I have the resources or the links, I can put them here. It will ensure that they are in my outline when the structure is created. So for example, if I come back and I come back to the earlier prompt that we were working with, and if I say in my original prompt, okay, we'll not be able to edit that because we've already edited that twice. So I'm going to say, I need resources that can be shared with students. Again, why am I on Gemini? Because Gemini can browse the internet for me. So it's giving me a few resources. Again, the URL might be invalid in some cases. You can just copy the entire aspect and paste it on Google and you should generally be able to get the first link itself because it has given you the exact title. If I know the resource, that this is the resource that it is giving me, I can go ahead and put a link to this in my chat here, or I can add them on later as well. So I can say that for now, I can say in this section specifically, I'll be specifying that. Let me just zoom in. I'm going to specify that leave a placeholder with 3 bullet points, because I can update these later as well. I'm not relying on ChatGPT to find the resources for me. I'm going to copy that and paste the same thing here as well for supplementary reading materials also. So it's going to leave that space in my final outline. And if there are any additional readings, we can have those. Now, it'll say that I'll now provide feedback on how to incorporate these inputs. Wait for my instructions before proceeding to generate the draft. Confirm you understand. Now, all is left that is for us to put the information that we have curated using these models, using Gemini and NotebookLM. So Gemini for finding the resources, downloading the PDFs, website link, or YouTube videos, putting them into NotebookLM and asking the right questions to extract information from the PDFs or our sources. Now, when I asked NotebookLM to do it, it has created a detailed outline for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and in fact, let me just scroll down and see if there's a copy button. There's a copy button. I'm going to open a Word document. So this is the second iteration. The first iteration that it had given me was not very detailed, and I asked it to elaborate on it further. I'm just going to paste it here right now. I'm not going to look at the quality of this for now. So scroll up. I'm going to remove the additional text. So it is giving me this course outline, right? It is giving me number of hours, and it is based on the PDFs that we had given. If we feel that this is sufficient for our purpose, we can rely on this. As a domain expert, you will always have to read each point, understand if something out of context or completely irrelevant has been mentioned here, because that can happen. Any tool that you use, at the bottom you will see a notification. Notebook LM can be inaccurate. Please double check its responses. Same on Gemini. Gemini can make mistakes, so double check it. Even somewhere on ChatGPT, yeah, ChatGPT can make mistakes. Do you see? On each of these, this is categorically mentioned. So as a user, you always have to double check your outputs that the model gives you. So this is the outline that NotebookLM created for me in the second attempt. So my mega prompt, which I curated using the 5 single prompts, was right here. After that, it created the key themes in dissertation writing, actionable steps for publishing in practitioner journals from the PDFs, relevant sections for a course on academic writing and publishing. It tells me that these can be the relevant courses, and additional considerations for academic and practitioner context. I asked it to elaborate on the points. When I asked it to elaborate on the points, it created an outline for me. I did not ask it for an outline. It felt the need to give me an outline, which it did. So it says the provided PDF experts offer excerpts of a valuable content that can be expanded upon a structure, a 30 course on academic writing and publishing. Then I specify that I like the course outline. Can you make it more detailed and elaborate? And this is what we have copied and put in the Word document. Now, what I'm going to do next is I am going to not rely on this outline, but rather the steps that it has given me, right? So I'm going to copy all these steps which it had given me, or insights rather, not steps, but rather insights from the PDFs or my sources in this case. And I'm not going to take the outline because we want ChatGPT to create the outline for us. So I'm going to come back to ChatGPT and I'm going to ensure that in the themes for the course, I put my entire content there. So now you'll see that I have a very detailed prompt where I'm specifying that these are the key inputs based on my research. These will be the themes or key ideas, or let's say key points for the course. And once I've done that, you will see that I've pasted it everything here. The chat window remains as it is. Once I have done all of that, if you remember, required reading, I asked you to leave a placeholder with 3 bullet points. For supplementary reading, I asked you to leave a placeholder with 3 bullet points. And then I said, I will now provide feedback on how to incorporate these points. So I'm not saying that go ahead and create an outline for me. Oh, I'm not done yet. I'm saying I'll tell you how to exactly incorporate these points. Wait for my instructions before proceeding to generate the first draft. Confirm you understand. It's going to take in all that information and just say, I understand. I'll wait for instructions on how to incorporate these inputs before drafting. Each response has been one line, which is, I understand, I understand, I understand, I'm ready. Because I explicitly mentioned that do not respond, tell me you understand, and wait for further instructions. We'll come back and come to our next prompt. If you have any additional expectations, right, before crafting the final outline, you will specify those. So I'll say that some hygiene factors, which will come and paste, Control Shift V. Before you generate the course outline, here are additional instructions. The course should include practical exercises that simulate real-world scholarly writing challenges. For each session, ensure the readings are directly aligned with the session's objectives. Add interactive. Now, I will not include this point because I am specified that I will be putting the readings later. So you can either include it and rely on ChatGPT to find the sources. If you don't like the reading resources that it gives you, you can remove them. Add interactive elements such as group discussion, peer reviews, or case studies where applicable. Confirm that you have understood all the details so far. Once you confirm, I will instruct you to generate the draft outline. Then it's going to say that I understand everything. I will ensure that the course includes practical exercises, aligns reading with session objectives, and incorporates interactive elements. Let me know when you're ready for me to generate the draft outline. And I can come back and I can say what structure I want for the outline because I have not specified the structure yet. So I'm going to press Ctrl Shift V and put that here. I'll say now that you have all the necessary details, generate the first draft of the outline. Shift Enter to break it into different lines. Structure should be as follows. There should be course title, overview, session by session breakdown, session objectives, key topics, practical exercises, required readings, supplementary readings. Again, I kept this as part of my original example, but if, like I said, you're going to add them later, remove them from here. If you want GPT to find sources for you, because GPT can also search the web. But a lot of times it makes a lot of mistakes, hence I don't rely on it. I rely on Gemini. We can keep it, we can remove it. Depends on how we want to go ahead with this. And last is use a clear and professional format with appropriate headings and subheadings. I press send and now it is going to create the outline for me. Prompt 1, prompt 2, prompt 3 with all my inputs, prompt 4 with instructions, prompt 5 with the right structure, and then it creates a final outline for me. It's still loading, which means it is still creating the outline. And once it creates the outline, next step is going to be review and feedback. So if you feel that certain elements of the outline need to be modified, the entire outline looks okay. Certain aspects, certain structures, certain elements, you will have to utilize a prompt like this, for example, to categorically give instructions. Don't say expand this section or it feels too generic. That's an ambiguous statement the model will not understand and might ruin your original outline. So you will have to tell the model, give feedback, positive reinforcement, tell the model that this outline is absolutely great. I have some suggestions and these are those. For example, it can be that session 5 lacks practical activities, highlight gaps, add more details to the objective of session 3. It can be you can request for additions, which is include a session on addressing reviewers' comments for journal submissions. I'm not going to do this right now. You can always review and refine depending on your requirement. And it's created the entire outline for me. I'm just going to expand and look at the outline. So it's called Core Scholarly Writing for Practitioners. That's the title. It gives me a course overview. This 30-hour course is designed for PhD students in management with significant professional experience, write impactful dissertations, publish in practical journals, publish in leading research journals, etc. It tells me session by session objective that session 1 understands scholarly writing, objectives, key topics, practical exercise activities, and required reading. Now, because I categorically specified in one of my instructions that only put a placeholder, it has only put a placeholder. It has only put a placeholder. Similarly, here you will find everywhere it puts a placeholder because that is what I categorically instructed it to do. I'm going to copy this outline and I'm going to put it in a new Word document. And I'm going to paste the entire outline right here. If you feel this is not okay, it is not as detailed, you always have the option to instruct to GPT that the outline needs to be more detailed in all sections. Please ensure that you are not making any errors or adding irrelevant information. Rely on, so how you would give feedback naturally, that is what you would write here as well. So rely on the sources I have given in my earlier prompts to enhance the overall outline, right? What I when I opened that second window on the right hand side, that was the canvas. I don't want to continue in the canvas, hence I'm continuing right here. So it is rewriting the outline for me, same outline, nothing different. So after my previous prompt, it is rewriting the same outline for me. Once it completes writing this, I'm going to send in this new prompt, which will say that the outline needs to be more detailed in order for it to in in order for it to be acceptable by me, or something that I need. Perfect. And I'm going to send this. So it says this is the first draft because that is what I had instructed. I'm just going to quickly load my screen because now you can see that there's this white space coming here. That's something to do with the ChatGPT website. So you can just refresh your screen to ensure that it does it correctly, and you can resend your outline or you resend your previous prompt, because when I refresh it stops generating the response. Now when I specify that make it detailed, rely on sources I have given, I will refine the outline with greater detail, directly incorporating the key themes and inputs you provided. The updated outline will be meticulous, fully aligned with your instructions, and enhanced with relevant, meaningful content. Let me provide a detailed version now. And it's going to create a detailed version for you. Again, here it is telling you some resources. I'm not sure if these are actually there on the internet. If they exist, it might make up stuff. You're not sure. You might not know. Always validate. For example, a point like a case study on impactful practitioner articles, HBR. This is a generic statement that is giving you that you can add something like this. You'll have to come back and search for the resources. That is where you can utilize Gemini. So once my outline is created, I can take sections of my outline and go to Gemini and say that for these sections, suggest reading material. So that is how each of these tools can incorporate or come into the picture. Input from one goes into the other tool and it creates the outline for me. I am going to copy this outline as well. So I'm going to copy this entire thing, and you can just highlight and copy, come back. I'm going to remove the old outline and replace it with the new outline. Right. So again, here you will see that in each of the required readings now, because it did not specify that, oh, continue to keep them as placeholders, just make it detailed. When I say make it detailed, now it says blog post, bridging literature gaps, academic versus practical perspective. There is nothing like this. It might not exist on the internet. It is something that it just creates for you, right? So you will not find the exact aspect on internet because there is not going to be anything present. That is a generic statement that has told you, it is giving you a hint that this is something that you can add here. Go and find. If I open something and if I like something that is available by doing a simple Google search for the search term that it gave me, which is bridging literature gaps, academic versus practical perspective. Again, like I said, there is no article that exists with that exact title, right? So you'll not rely on whatever it is mentioned here categorically. You can specify that for each, this is absolutely great. For each aspect or each, let's call it a session, search for relevant reading material. Now I'm asking to do a search. Earlier I did not ask you to do a search so far. Now I'm asking to do a search. I can do the search on Gemini or I can do the search here as well. Utilize Gemini because Gemini is from Google, and that makes more sense to do. I'm going to pause this for a second. I don't need the entire outline. So I'm just going to say that just give me the reading materials with links. Because if I don't specify that, it will rewrite the entire outline for me. I don't want that. I already have the outline. I just need the reading materials. So it tells me that for session 1, I can utilize these reading materials. Again, you'll have to click on the link, go check if it is relevant, and then add it to your course outline. Validation is always important because ChatGPT can make mistakes, as mentioned here. NotebookLM can be inaccurate, as mentioned here. And Gemini can make mistakes, so double check it. So if the model itself is telling you that it can make an error, so always validate, validate, validate. If you feel that these are okay, you can open the links and save them in the specific sections, right? That's the entire process of generating the outline, finding the right resources. You can also click on the sources button and it will show you all the sources that it has referred to. If you feel that these sources are absolutely great, you can specify that these sources are good. I'll be relying on them. If you feel that you want articles or resources or reading materials only from specific websites, please mention those specific websites in your prompt, which was the most recent prompt, which is this one. For example, if I say the source should only be HBR, if I send my prompt now, it's going to tell me that my source is already going to be HBR. So it is going to give me articles, which sometimes the links might not open at all. So you'll have to ensure that. So it is giving me the link to the entire website, which I don't want, obviously. If I go to sources, do you see now it is giving me sources from HBR's library. There are some from other materials as well, right? So if I want something, no, actually this is from my previous prompt, I guess. But if I want HBR specific sources, there are some from Harvard Business School, which is right here. Again, they might not be absolutely relevant to your case, so you'll have to always validate the responses. That's the entire process of how you rely on these tools, starting with Gemini, NotebookLM, and ChatGPT. Some inputs or key points to remember when you use Gemini: be specific in your prompts. This is categorical or an instruction that you should follow with every tool. Prioritize quality sources, right? So focus on credible platforms. So if you know credible platforms, you specify them. If you don't know, whatever it gives you, validate, validate, validate. Then once Gemini gives you the responses, curate them, download them, save the link somewhere, save the YouTube video link somewhere. If you feel that the PDFs are too varied, categorize them into different documents or structures, and then upload them into NotebookLM. When working with NotebookLM, this is not Gemini. This is going to be, one second. Okay, this is Gemini. This is going to be NotebookLM, and the next one is going to be ChatGPT. Okay, perfect. And coming back, so we looked at key points for Gemini, key points for NotebookLM. You'll upload relevant PDFs. Don't upload something that you don't want. Uncheck the source that you do not require, like I just did. When I uncheck that one particular source, use specific prompts or combine them into one large prompt, which also I've shown you in the video. You can extract key themes and key points. NotebookLM can also curate the outline for you, remember, but it cannot do that role play aspect. GPT can do the role play aspect as well. You can iterate on document summaries, so you can ask NotebookLM for a deeper dive into specific sections if needed. Summarize the common mistakes section and how to address them, as an example. If you can also generate customized outputs, so provide 3 key takeaways from this document that could form the basis of a 2.5-hour session on dissertation writing. With ChatGPT, always you can specify to take on a role. Like in this case, I specified you are an expert instructional designer. If I did not specify this, my output that you see or that I just copied would not have been of that quality. If I do everything in one single prompt, not going to work. If I not going to give me the best result. If I utilize prompts in steps, that is going to be the best method of ensuring that the output is of high quality. Then there are multi-level prompts also, which we've done. It's prompt 1, prompt 2, prompt 3, prompt 4. Ask it to wait. Break the task into steps, which we did. Instruct the model to wait, which I mentioned. Iterate with feedback. Give categorical feedback. Session 2 lacks interactive elements. Please add a group exercise or peer review activity. If you just say add group exercise, it will not know where to add. So wherever it feels it is relevant, it is going to add that. But that is not what you want. You want it to add it to session 2, to specify session 2. And final formatting can do that. You can format the course outline with headings, subheadings. If you want it as a table format, you can specify that as well. Right? So these are the key steps or key notes to ensure when working with Gemini, NotebookLM, or ChatGPT. Across all 3 of them, keep your ask explicitly mention the model, what you're looking for. If you don't specify details and keep anything ambiguous, the model will assume. If the model assumes, the output will not be of the quality that you might want. Hence, you might not rely on it again and again. Right? You might feel that it is not able to give me what I want. But if your prompts are categorical, like I showed you, you will get a very detailed response. I hope that helped you identify how you can utilize Gemini, NotebookLM, and ChatGPT to generate or curate a course outline. Thank you for watching the video.